What's up, investors? It's the Russian dude. Let's get straight to the point, talk about some ridiculous Russian propaganda. Okay, today we have this picture from one of Russian cities, and long story short, they saw this Z letter literally in the sky, and the caption says that, well, brothers and comrades, the nature is for us. So there is no way we can lose in our sacred mission on the territory of Ukraine. I mean, yeah, I kinda maybe added a little bit from myself, but that's obviously the idea behind this post. And honestly, it is hard to argue. I mean, yes, we do see Z in the sky. It is not a Photoshop. This is what I would say if I'll be a Z patriot, but I mean, yeah, with the very same probability any other letter could have appeared, so that's the mindset of Z patriots. But okay, enough of this clownship, now let's talk briefly about F-16s finally arriving to Ukraine, and I know you probably heard about this, so I'm gonna be very quick. Then I'm gonna give you a brief update from the south and the east of Ukraine. And so yeah, like you probably already heard, F-16s are finally on the territory of Ukraine, according to different official sources, and most likely the very first batch of 6 of them arrived from the Netherlands. We even have this picture where allegedly the very first F-16 in the Ukrainian sky was basically photographed, and then even this video, potentially some of them are flying by. And like mentioned previously, yes, those F-16s will most likely not be used along the front lines, instead they'll be used as some kind of an air defense, intercepting Russian aerial targets. And by the way, speaking about the air defense, this last night one of the biggest drone attacks of Russians against Ukraine happened. They used at least 89 different drones. And what's so special about this particular attack is that Ukrainians were able to intercept every single one of them, and also one metallic cylinder. Allegedly later some analysts, some military experts, they did claim that not all of these were Iranian Shahed drones, is that some of them were actually Russian unlocks, those more or less cheaper versions called Gerbers, which potentially allows us to assume this is the reason why so many of them were intercepted. And ultimately right here is the map which shows the approximate routes these flying machines were taking. Speaking about more military planes, in airfield Saki located on the Crimean Peninsula, right here we have the satellite confirmation that another Russian military plane Su-30SM was severely damaged. And then also in Zaporozhye region there was an ASM Hammer strike on the positions of the Russian infantry in Nesteryanka. Our next stop brings us already to the territory of Russia, just really briefly, because in Kursk a pretty big munition depot spontaneously got caught on fire, and then local residents of Belgorod Shebekino also recorded some black smoke coming seemingly out of nowhere. And then right here is the video already from the territory of Ukraine, from Volyn region, which is literally next to the border with Belarus, where Ukrainians also constructed some defense fortifications, and Zelensky himself came to inspect them. In Luhansk, some local residents also woke up due to some loud noises, and then here is the video from Toretsk, where Ukrainian soldiers are also doing door-to-door activities. Next is the video from Pivnichny, where Ukrainians are also going and just clearing the streets from the remaining Z soldiers. This is pretty much a body cam footage from one of Ukrainians. Both of these videos are full of intense material. So guys, if you do want to see them, full and uncensored versions, as always they're on my Patreon, the link is down below. Next we have some statements from local residents in Donetsk, which were able to hear some loud noises and then they saw this smoke. And later, reportedly, this information is already coming to us from the Z Telegram channels. They do mention that, unfortunately, it was Russian air defense which intercepted their own Russian helicopter Mi-8. But unfortunately, according to one of the most recent reports by the Institute for the Study of War, Russians do some minor advancements next to the several settlements, such as Donetsk, Chasov Yar, and in the direction of Robotyne. Without a doubt, every single thing we are seeing right now is nowhere near close to be this so-called special military operation. This is, let's be honest, let's call things by their own names. This is a full-scale invasion and a war, no matter how Russian authorities want to deny it. You know what? Until recently. because ex-president of Russia, Dmitry Medvedev, he did this presentation or like address to the nation, or it is literally looking like a presentation a kindergarten kid or a elementary school kid will be doing to just make his schoolmates laugh, to just entertain his friends, because he was showing like these photoshopped pictures of the Western leaders, and he was basically at this point in direct text just literally acknowledging that, guys, this is an invasion by Russia. It was extremely hard to watch the entire speech by Dmitry Medvedev, so I did it for you. Right here are the main statements, the most ridiculous ones that he claimed. First of all, he said that Ukraine, without a doubt, is a Russian territory. And speaking about the borders of Russia, you know, like these borders, these lines they draw on map, these are just the formalities, because we don't need to think about the current borders of Russia, we need to focus on what borders of Russia can be in the future. Then he was almost kinda winking and saying that, no, don't believe those Western people who are saying that we are in Ukraine, whatever we are doing, it is called the effective occupation. I don't know why he did have to go to such specifics, specifically about Ukraine, Western counterparts, and effective occupation, but well, he just pretty much summarized the activities of the Z army. He then claimed that Russia does not want the entire territory of Ukraine, you know, we only want what's rightfully ours, everything to the left and to the right side of Dnipro river, well, the river which almost fully goes across the entire territory of Ukraine, so everything to the left and to the right, it is pretty much the entire country. One last thing about the borders, he quoted Vladimir Putin saying that the real way to look at the borders of Russia is that borders of Russia, they just simply do not exist. I guess you can make your own conclusions what does this mean, and ultimately he just concluded by saying the very same narrative of the Z propaganda, saying that Russia had to defend itself, that's why they had to attack the neighboring country, because obviously the best defense is offense. Well, like every single statement is more ridiculous than the previous one. And ultimately, one last chapter, forgive me for making such a sharp transition, but long story short, the echoes of Kremlin purge, they still sound in the modern days, because recently yet another Deputy Minister of Defense of Russia, ex-Minister of Defense of Russia, Shoigu, he was arrested. The guy I'm talking about this time is Dmitry Bulgakov, and I mean this used to be literally Shoigu's deputy minister. So pretty much the next person after this guy is already Shoigu himself. Obviously, this guy was arrested based on the very same charges that he was taking exceptionally big bribes, things like this, most likely not sharing these bribes with people who mattered. That's why he got caught pretty much. But obviously, in the end, he will be prosecuted as the major treason against Russia, as it usually happens with every single person who took some high positions within the Ministry of Defense. Well, Shoigu was one of them who used to take a high position within the Ministry of Defense. I would say the biggest one, the top position. So yeah, his deputies are already being prosecuted. Well, the next step, it only makes sense eventually. If Shoigu not gonna do something according to Putin's liking, he's gonna be the next one. He, to say the least, is in grave danger. And to sum up this entire video, recently Zelensky once again spoke about the possibility of peace negotiations with Russia, but this time he gave some different, very different perspective from what he used to say in the past, like literally less than a couple of weeks ago. So guys, let's talk about this on my Patreon. This is an exclusive extra chapter for my Patreon members. If you want, go ahead and check. If you want to continue watching, go ahead and check my Patreon. There is 1 week of free trial, so doesn't hurt to try. And then there is also hundreds of extra photos and videos which I upload there every single week. The link to my Patreon is down below. The best way to support the channel. Thanks so much. Well, there you have it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel if this was interesting and informative for both. Useful links are down below: PayPal, Patreon, Instagram, merch, and well, see you tomorrow.